And it is haul time once again. Boy, do I have a massive Transformers haul for you guys. I just came back from my trip to Singapore. Actually, this was my wife's business trip. I just tagged along for the ride. So, okay, it's actually everything's Transformers except for one item. So let's get right to it with the first this is my only non-Transformer haul for this trip. This is the Black Series retro carded 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. We've got Emperor Palpatine, or the Emperor. I've always wanted something like this. The card was just really cool. It just reminds me so much of the old card back in the 80s that Kenner did. So could not resist this. I mean, the entire wave was just selling out of hobby shops. People were buying them by the case because most of the hobby shops were selling them as a case of 6. Only some stores were selling it individually. I got this one at a department store called Takashimaya on Orchard Road, and they did have the entire wave. Everyone was just after Paplu and the Stormtrooper. Nobody was paying attention to figures like this or Han Solo or Chewbacca. But yeah, very glad to actually have this one. Kind of lucky to get it. Okay, the next one I picked up, let's start with this one. Okay, I know I haven't been reviewing a lot of the Earthspark figures. I mean, it's a hit or miss for me, this line. So far, the ones I've reviewed were pretty okay. But this particular figure comes from Wave 2 of the Warrior class figures. This is Thrash, Terran Thrash. And the wave includes Megatron and him in Warrior class scale. And the only store that had this wave was, again, Takashimaya department store on Orchard Road. None of the Toys R Us had him. None of the OG stores had him. OG department store. Only Takashimaya had it. And every time I went to Takashimaya like 3 times, and they only had Megatron. I asked the stock guy. He says Thrash was sold out. He didn't want to bring in too much stock of this guy because, you know, Earthspark apparently doesn't sell well in Singapore. So it was sold out. Only Megatron was left on the pegs together with Elita 1. So I'd given up hope on getting this one because Toys R Us says that we're going to get this one till a couple more weeks. So, okay. So I was at the airport at Changi, and I was at Terminal 1. There's this shop which I frequent, this toy shop I frequent. It's called Kids Time. That is the best toy store in the entire Changi, the old Changi complex, if I may say so. And they had this. The entire wave was there. They had 2 of these guys, tons of Megatron and Elita 1, and I was so happy I got him. I searched like 3 days for this guy. I just wanted to review this figure. I thought it was a pretty cool one. So glad for Kids Time at Changi. Okay, now next up I went to Toys R Us at Vivo City, and I've been going there since Wednesday, and they only got new stocks of Rise of the Beast last Saturday. Apparently, they usually bring in stocks on Saturdays, and I got not a boatload, but several figures that I thought would be cool to review. The first one is this one. I guess this is called the Battle Master. Beast Battle Masters Optimus Primal. He's from Wave 2. This figure just showed up in Manila. When I got back here in Manila, I found this one at a Toy Kingdom store. So I got this one slightly cheaper, about 50 cents cheaper in Singapore. So that was pretty cool. I'm pretty interested to know how this one works. Okay, more from Toys R Us at Vivo City. We have Mirage from Rise of the Beast. This is the Battle Changer version of Mirage. I've done the other Battle Changers before, so I thought it'd be interesting to do one more. Okay, next up is another Mirage, and this time it is the mainline deluxe class Mirage, also from Toys R Us and Vivo City. They had just restocked these. A lot of collectors were actually picking this one up, but he looks a little different from how he appeared in the movie. I don't know, we'll see. We'll do a review of this guy. Pretty interesting. I hope he does not disappoint. Okay, and last thing I picked up at Toys R Us from Vivo City is this guy. The Target exclusive, there's no Target here in Asia, but it's the Beast Alliance. Is this Weaponizer? Yes. Beast Weaponizer 2-pack of Scorponok and Sandspear. I mean, if you watched the movie, these guys never transformed. They were just in beast mode all the time, but it's interesting to note that Hasbro did give them a robot mode. They are Transformers after all, so yeah, interesting. I did see the other Target exclusive, the Buzzworthy Bumblebee Combiner, Beast Combiner Scourge with Scorponok. I've just had enough of combiners lately, so I didn't bother picking that one up. It didn't really look as great in packaging, so I skipped that one in case you're wondering. Okay, so that's it for retail stores in Singapore. Let's move on to the hobby shops. So you guys know I frequent one particular hobby shop in Singapore, and it's called Robo Robo. I think that is the best toy store in Singapore, but you know, that's just my opinion. So the first thing I picked up from them is this guy. He is huge. He is the leader class Transformers Shattered Glass Grimlock. I mean, he looks great in packaging. You know, you guys know I'm all in with the Shattered Glass line, and you know, it's a great mold of Grimlock. The colors look great, at least in packaging, so I'm gonna have a blast with this one. Shattered Glass Leader Class Grimlock. Okay, next thing I picked up at Robo Robo is this guy. Well, he's still in, there's a story behind that, but let me just show him off. The Transformers Legacy Evolution, you can see it from the bubble wrap. Armada Universe Leader Class, oh sorry, Commander Class Optimus Prime. Oh my goodness, this guy was selling out fast at Toys R Us stores and even at Robo Robo. I mean, they had already sold off like 85% of their stocks. They had a few more left for store walk-in customers, and I wanted to just give a shout out to the owner of Robo Robo for just doing extra service of bubble wrapping this item for me, because I told him I really love the box. I wanted to keep the box in pristine condition, and you know how it is when you put stuff in your suitcase, it gets thrown around by the baggage handlers. So I said, this thing's gonna get crumpled when I get home, and he says, no, don't worry, I'll bubble wrap it for you, it'll be fine. And just extra, going the extra mile, customer service, fantastic customer service at Robo Robo. Just really glad, and hopefully it came out fine, because from what I can see so far, the bubble wrap did its job. Okay, one last thing I picked up from Robo Robo is an oldie but a goodie. This is the Transformers, I guess Legends Deluxe Class Target Master Trigger Happy with this Target Master by Takara Tomy. It's an old one. I know I had this one. I reviewed this figure years ago, but I let it go. If I remember correctly, I picked this figure up from our toys for about 50 bucks, and then 50 or 40 bucks, I can't remember, but I sold it off for something ridiculous price, like 30 bucks. And now it's going for 120 Singapore dollars. That comes to about 95 to 100 US dollars. And it is crazy how these Titan Returns figures have just shot up in price. It's mint in sealed box. I just really regretted selling off my Trigger Happy. He is one of the best Titans Return figure, if not the best Target Master from the Generations line, and I just couldn't let this one go. I've been looking for this figure for over a year now, online, on eBay, on Shopee, Lazada. Nobody was selling it for below 150 bucks. So for 120 or 100 US dollars, I just had to pick this one up. So yeah, very happy to have him. All right, and one last thing I picked up from Singapore is from a shop called the Falcon's Hangar. Now this was an old stock that they had on clearance. Boom! It is the Encore Metroplex, G1 Metroplex from Takara Tomy. It's an Encore, it means a re-release. It's not sealed. It's been opened up for inspection, but the thing hasn't been displayed. It hasn't been opened up from the clamshell. They just open up the box to inspect the thing, visual inspection, and that's it. This thing is literally it's still mint in box, okay? It was on a clearance price. Their clearance price was 280 Singapore dollars, which is, I don't know, about 250, 240 US dollars. And I thought that was a steal, okay? The only catch was they weren't accepting credit cards for this particular item because it was an old item. It was already been deleted from their system. They could not sell it via credit card. So if you had cash, you could buy it. $280. Well, I had used up most of my cash, and luckily for me, my wife had some extra cash. Ran back to the store just before we left for the airport, and boom, I finally got another G1 Metroplex, because we had Metroplex growing up as a kid, and it was banged up, beaten up. We lost all the weapons, the chrome faded, the plastic was yellowing, broken pieces here and there. I think I actually sold it off to a buddy of mine years ago, and he was happy to have it because it was vintage stuff. But I've always wanted one in mint condition so I could just have one, because this was a part of our childhood. We had a lot of memories playing with this. My brother actually owned this Metroplex, and I had Ultra Magnus, I had Omega Supreme, he had Metroplex. So we would play around, and it was a lot of fun. Brings back so much memories from my childhood, and I'm so happy to actually have it. So yeah, I'm kind of glad the Falcon's Hanger still had him. I knew they had this item last Easter. Last Easter when we were in Singapore, they had a warehouse sale at the Jurong Eastport. I couldn't go there because it was way too far from our hotel. It was way too far from the city. I just couldn't go there. And this was leftover, so I was kind of glad they had one last stock left. And yeah, very, very happy to have G1 Metroplex once again in the collection. So there you have it, folks. That is my haul from Singapore for June 2023. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. Which one of these guys would you like me to review first? Hit me up in the comment section, and as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. Once again, big shout out to Robo Robo for their amazing product and their awesome customer service. The Falcon's Hanger for that G1 Metroplex. I just had a fantastic time at Singapore. My wife is just amazing for letting me go with her on her business trip. And with that, I'd like to thank everybody for watching, and do stay tuned for my reviews of these figures.